Recently, I uploaded a video doing a deep dive into the lore of Bon Iver. From the get-go, my intent was to explore just the band and its history, but Bon Iver as a project has such loose and evolving bounds that it's hard to draw any meaningful lines. At the center of it all is Justin Vernon, and his artistry is the project's backbone. That said, Bon Iver isn't the only band Vernon has ever been a part of. In this video, we'll go over all the bands I'm aware of where Vernon has been a member. I like to call it the Boniverse. Going way back to 1998, Vernon was a leading member of a high school band named Mount Vernon, likely named after Vernon's last name. As a side note, we'll come to learn that Vernon's name was oddly important in the naming of the bands he's been a part of. There isn't much out there online about Mount Vernon. It seems like they mostly played music during high school events like talent shows, band recitals, and school assemblies. There's a YouTube channel called Mount Vernon the Band with some great archival footage of these sets. You can also find them featured in a news broadcast from 1999. As for streaming services, there are only 2 Mount Vernon songs that have ever been released: We Can Look Up and Morning. They were part of the 2023 DeYarmond Edison box set titled Epoch, which will feature heavily throughout this video. As for the band's music, Vernon's voice sticks out among the smooth mix of jazz, blues, rock, and even a little bit of reggae. Honestly, it's impressive. I really can't remember my high school's band class being this good. I certainly would have been more entertained at assemblies. After graduating high school, Mount Vernon was no more. Instead, Vernon began working on music as a solo artist and also formed a band called DeYarmond Edison. I don't know which came first, but I'll focus on his solo work, then move to DeYarmond Edison. The first solo Justin Vernon album, Home Is, was self-released in a small batch of CDs in 2001. I'll first point to the song Leave It Alone as a great recommendation for anyone who fancies a little blues. Most of the songs in Vernon's solo discography only feature his voice and him playing guitar or piano, but Leave It Alone sounds like there's a whole band. What's more, there's also a duet with a lady named Sarah Emma Jensen. If you ever wondered who Emma is in For Emma Forever Ago, you can hear her sing on this song. She's also featured here playing sax in the Mount Vernon news broadcast. The highlight for me from Home is May 27th, 1999, 5:23 a.m. The guitar in the song is just perfect. It goes fast, it goes slow, it goes away, it goes crazy. It does it all. Couple this with Vernon's beautifully hoarse singing, and the product is a refreshingly reflective song about fleeting youth that is packed with emotion. 4 years later, in 2005, Vernon put out Self-Record, or maybe Self-Record? You decide. Of his 3 solo albums, though, this one is my favorite. Everything from the CD album artwork to the Bruce Springsteen cover and the jam-packed track list just really attract me to this body of work. Of note, the song Above the Code off this record seems like the closest precursor to Bon Iver in the solo albums. There's a multi-tracked falsetto section that plays in stereo that is so prescient of the Bon Iver project that it would have fit in For Emma Forever Ago perfectly. Highlights include the Whippgrass and the Orient and the Gatsby's slew of choices. Once again, Vernon's guitar work on the Whippgrass just tickles me. I can't get over it. The imagery of Whippgrass is also a great creative choice. Whippgrass paints a picture of windy, chilly Wisconsin dusk on a wide-open field in fall. So good. As for the Orient and the Gatsby slew of choices, there's some great experimentation with drum machines and vocal tracks that remind me of Radiohead, and even feel like foreshadowing to later Bon Iver works. Vernon really has been doing this shit forever. Hazelton's was released a year after Self-Record in 2006. It is unique in that it had a recent official release through Jaguar around the time that the Epoch box set came out, so it's actually on streaming services. Hazelton's is the shortest out of the solo albums, clocking in at just over 30 minutes. Song for a Lover of Long Ago is widely considered the highlight of the album, and it makes sense. Not only is the song fantastic, it probably also resonates with Bon Iver fans who love how Vernon wraps melancholy up into such beautiful songs. We also get some falsetto on this record. Frail Sail is sung entirely in falsetto, so it sounds like a very upbeat Bon Iver song. It's even got some twangy guitar that is reminiscent of Flume and Skinny Love. My personal favorite from this album is Liner. I like the laid-back guitar and pulsing snare. Around the time of Vernon's solo records, he was also playing in a band called DeYarmond Edison, which is actually just Vernon's middle name. The band comprised Vernon, brothers Phil and Brad Cook, Joe Westerlund, and Chris Porterfield. All of them, except Porterfield, were also a part of Mount Vernon, so you can consider DeYarmond Edison as the post-high school Mount Vernon evolution. The Cook brothers and Westerlund are also recurring characters in the Boniverse. Their bonds with Vernon have never diminished. They even made contributions to 22 a Million and I. Now, DeYarmond Edison began in Eau Claire, Wisconsin, but eventually drifted to Raleigh, North Carolina in pursuit of musical success. Their migration did not prove fruitful, though, and the band eventually broke up in 2006. As far as output goes, they released one official album in 2005 titled Silent Signs. The song Bones is the clear favorite among the bunch, and it's my personal favorite too, but there are some great pieces in there as well. First Impression has a great pedal steel section, and the banjo on Heart for Hire hits just right. They are worth checking out, and the album really does combine a northern folk and southern bayou sound. Along with Silent Signs, DeYarmond Edison also released a short 4-song EP on their MySpace. But if you don't want to go to MySpace, their entire discography was also released in 2023 in the Epoch box set. Admittedly, this box set contains most of the contents of this video. If you want to point to one thing in the world that most represents the Boniverse, it's the Epoch box set. It's a treasure trove of early music, demos, and live versions of songs that had so many hidden gems. If you're ever bored for an entire day, listen to all 7 hours of it. Formed in 2006 in Eau Claire, the Shouting Matches are a trio between Vernon, Phil Cook, and Brian Moen. I'll be honest, I hadn't really listened to any of their music prior to making this video, but I am glad I have now. My taste in blues isn't too vast, but the small discography of this band aligns just right with my music taste. Probably because it basically feels like blues Bon Iver to me. Despite forming in 2006, they only released 2 projects in 2013, an album named Grown Ass Man and an EP named Mouth Oil. The astute Bon Iver listener will also notice that these albums were released during the infamous Bon Iver hiatus of 2012 to 2016. That's right, Vernon was making blues music instead of feeding our seasonal depression monsters. Thanks, Justin. Gallup, New Mexico, and of course, I Had a Real Good Lover are the 2 tracks that I'll be taking away from my listening of the band. I really recommend I Had a Real Good Lover. It's their most popular song for a reason. That said, though, they've also got some awesome deeper cuts that embody heavy blues like Heaven Knows, Mother Wen, and Bear. Gayngs is a bit of an interesting case in this list. To me, it's part of the Boniverse, but just barely. The band has tons of members, and its core seems to be Ryan Olson, who, by the way, helped produce Speyside, but I think Vernon could be considered a member. His voice is heard all around their 2010 album Related, and is featured prominently on their 2020 release Appeal to You. The band is a lot more electronic and multi-instrumental than the bands we've seen so far. There's a lot more experimentation and, as such, a lot more risky artistry that either falls flat or pays off really well, depending on the listener. Personally, I love their stuff. It feels kind of Bon Iver light, but with its own distinct soul and sound that is not at all defined by Vernon's voice. I find that Vernon typically dominates a song whenever he is a collaborator, but he only complements the gang songs that he contributes to. It's a refreshing combination. Highlights include The Gaudy Side of Town, Appeal to You Part 1, Faded High, and Faded High. Yes, I said Faded High twice. Now we're talking. Volcano Choir is amazing. The only piece of lore I will give you is that the song Still reuses some of the song Woods from Blood Bank. That's enough history, though. This band is incredible. You know when you're out hiking or traveling and you're a bit tired and your legs are sore, but you just want to keep walking, and just before you decide to stop, your feelings start to change. Maybe there's a change in the light or a smell that you can't place. Or you stumble upon a hidden gem within a city or a breathtaking view in nature. You feel a sense of calm. You don't notice it, but you just stop thinking. Instead, you're just taking it all in. That's how the music of Volcano Choir is composed. That feeling is bottled in their sound. The identities of their 2 albums, Repave and Unmap, are so prominent and so unique that I actually understand how they're not as well known as they should be. It's hard to appreciate something so masterfully original. I'm sure you know of Bon Iver, and I'm sure Volcano Choir reminds you of Bon Iver, but I doubt you'd listen to their songs and guess they are by Bon Iver. They're able to do what Bon Iver does so well, make a sound that can't be replicated. Volcano Choir's genre is Volcano Choir. Do yourself a favor. Go on a walk, and if you're feeling happy, play Repave. If you're feeling sad, play Unmap. So, we've covered the bands of which Vernon has been an active contributing member at some point in time. However, there are even more bands that have Vernon's fingerprints on them. Honorable mentions to the Boniverse include Ticonderoga, Marijuana Death Squads, and Megafaun. I won't give their chronicles here, but if you're looking for even more, those three bands have left striations on the concrete of Bon Iver's history.